I'm Marcy Levinson-Brooks for AtlantaJewishNews.com. We're talking to Reda Mansour, who is the Consul General to the Southeast from Israel, and he's been here a few years, and you're going to be leaving us soon. So I wanted to get an update from you on what's going on in Israel and what you've been doing in the Southeast United States.
Yeah, this is my fourth and last year in Atlanta. I'll be leaving in the summer of 2010. And typically in our diplomatic service, diplomats come from, will have 4 years post, and then they rotate back home before the next assignment. This has been for me a great assignment. The southeast of the United States, it's probably one of the most friendly regions of the world for Israel. It means that it lets you work on very positive projects in any fields that you can imagine. And so we were busy here for the last 5 years promoting projects with the different Jewish organizations and with the Jewish community. Other than that, we branched out to other ethnic communities in the region. We have very good cooperation with the African American community institutions. The flagship of that is our Rabin King initiative with Morehouse College that is continuing to develop, and that we are hoping that one day it will become an academic center in the college that will actually be active nationally to promote Jewish, African American, Israeli dialogue. We also reached out to the Latin community here and to the Asian community as well. Had many events with these communities. This is not just in Atlanta or Metro Atlanta. This is throughout our region, from Tennessee in the north to Mississippi in the south, including the Carolinas. We worked on many academic projects. We cooperate a lot with our chambers of commerce, which is one of the best chambers of commerce that Israel have around the world. You know, there are numerous fields that we are active here to promote Israel-U.S. I met, interestingly enough, several Druze in the different places I met in the region, and I was the one who brought to them, in a way, an update about their tradition and their religion, because many of them lived disconnected from any Druze community. And so they asked me many questions about their own tradition, about the Druze tradition, because they wanted somebody to update them a little bit. Sometimes they were second generation and third generation of Jews who immigrated here and assimilated, and they didn't feel that they have enough connection with the rest of the community that predominantly lives in the Middle East. For me, it was really a way also to understand more the United States. I think people here don't know how much there is lack of understanding from overseas when people look at the United States, because they see usually the United States of Washington, D.C. and the federal government. When you live here and you visit the small towns and the different states, you start to see that the United States is actually made more, you know, at the local level. America, there is several America, the America of the big cities and the America of the small towns. All of this is very important to understand the place that you work in.
You've probably seen more of the Southeast United States than people who are born and raised here. So that's quite an accomplishment for somebody who's here such a short time. In closing, I wanted to ask you if you would kind of give us an update on Israel and what we need to know as Americans. We get filtered news. Not everybody reads the Jerusalem Post or Haaretz. What can you tell us about what's currently going on in Israel?
Well, Israel is facing now a major challenge, especially from the direction of Iran. That for us is really a strategic and even existential threat. This is different, and people tend to mix all of these challenges in the Middle East, but there are differences. You know, terrorism for us, like the terrorism of Hamas or from Gaza, or the terrorism of Hezbollah from Lebanon, is a real security challenge, but it's not threatening the existence of the State of Israel. It's an ongoing war. We can win this war. We definitely don't feel that these groups can win against Israel in the long run. But the Iranian situation is different. Iran is a very big country, very big proportion of the Middle East, both in size of the geography and the population. And it's a combination that makes this dilemma very dangerous, meaning that you have a religious extreme regime that actually is more military junta disguised as a religious regime. And then this combination is trying to achieve a nuclear device. And this makes it very difficult because we don't know what these guys are capable of. And we just seen in the last election how cruel they are. Beating and shooting people in the street. There are many reports now about the vast amount of rape of political activists in jails, of executions of minorities and gays and political dissidents. So this regime is a very cruel regime determined to survive, and if you give them the opportunity to have a nuclear weapon, you don't know if they will use it, if they will give it to a terrorist group to use it, if it will embolden them to start destabilizing the region even further. But I do want to stress that Iran is a world community challenge. This is not an Israeli only challenge, because the Iranians already have missiles that can reach Israel, but they continue to develop missiles that reach Europe and America. It means that they think about themselves more as a regional superpower that can threat the big powers. And that's why I think it's a matter for the Security Council, for the world community to deal with this issue.
Do you think that Americans in general are surprised by some of the issues that Israel faces? As I said, we get filtered news and we hear that terrorist groups are regaining power, or that Iran is ramping up their nuclear program. These things aren't surprises to you. Why do you think they are to Americans? Is it because we only pay attention when it hits headline news?
Well, I think that the news media in general is really suffering in the world generally today. We live in a world of this blend of entertainment and news, and people don't really get what they need to know about the world, the things that affect their daily life. We didn't make yet that needed change in a globalized world when something that happened in the other side of the world can affect your small community here. You need to get news in a different way and to really understand those major challenges, because if something happened in Iran, it will affect the world security, it will affect the world economy, it will affect jobs. And I don't think that the news media really made that shift yet to globalized news and to bring the people what they need to understand. The other part of that is that the world became much more complicated today. The new technologies that we enjoy so much, the same internet and satellite communication and fast travel, all of this was used by us for positive issues, but it's been now used by radical groups for inflicting violence around the world. In the past, you didn't need really to worry about extreme groups who live 10,000 miles away from your home. New technology gives them the means now to get to you wherever you are. So now we need to understand more the world around us and how people are using technology not just to create good things, but also to create horrible things.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. We've been talking to Reda Mansour, who is the Consul General to the United States from Israel. He's been working in the Southeast United States for the last couple years. He's going to be leaving us this summer, and hopefully we will be able to keep tabs on him from Israel, and he will check back in with us. Reda, thank you.
Thank you very much.